7 News, on your side at 5 a.m.
And good morning, Washington. So glad you're with us. I'm Adam Longo.
And I'm Megan Clark. It's 5 a.m. on your Monday morning. And here's a look at some of the top stories that we're working on for you today.
D.C.'s embattled council member Trayon White is back in the hot seat this morning. His fellow council members will decide whether or not he'll keep his seat after a federal bribery charge. 7 News on your side with team coverage this morning ahead of that meeting.
And the Washington Commanders back on the field as the fight for the postseason starts to heat up. Our sports team is standing by with what's next for the team after a win in the Big Easy.
And a weekend wintry mix moves out, but concerns over icing has several local school districts on a 2-hour delay. In Virginia, Clark, Fauquier, Frederick, Shenandoah, Warren, Winchester, and in West Virginia, Berkeley County schools are closed. We're tracking it all for you this morning, WJLA.com and on the 7 News ticker.
And with that, let's get right to meteorologist Eileen Whalen starting us off this morning. And Eileen, it was raining pretty good when I was heading into work early this morning. Some of us could see even more of that tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Not maybe the prettiest start to our Monday morning, but our first alert weather team on your side will help you get through it. The rain is starting to taper off from west to east, but it is still really damp out there this morning. Dark as well. Live radar does show in some of those areas where we do have those school delays, the precipitation has stopped falling, but those are the areas where temperatures are around freezing. Closer into the D.C. metro area, 37 right now in Rockville, 34 in Leesburg, so above freezing, and still a little bit of some light rain being reported at Reagan National. So the rain will be tapering off. A lot of today is actually going to be dry, but it is going to be on the cloudy side. It is going to be damp. We'll have a lot of moisture still in the atmosphere, so there still could be some patchy fog. Highs today get into the upper 40s, and we are tracking more rain tonight and another midweek weather maker that could impact you. So we'll talk more about that coming up within 7 minutes, but let's see how the wet pavement is doing on area roadways with Britt.
Thank you. More crashes than I'm used to at this time of day, to be honest with you. Dale City, Virginia southbound I-95 is where our eyes are after Dale Boulevard because a crash is blocking some lanes. All that you're using to pass it is that left shoulder. So imagine you're used to taking all these lanes, you're being condensed into one area, and it is the shoulder. So yes, still getting by, but at single-digit speed. You can see the sleekness of the roads in this camera. Also a lot of response there. Hopefully they pack it up soon. Elsewhere, Inner Loop, Bethesda, Maryland. This is where we have a jackknife tractor trailer with 2 left lanes blocked right at Rockville Pike. You can get around it at about 30 miles per hour. That's your traffic watch.
All right, Britt, Eileen, thank you. Happening today, the D.C. Council Committee looking into federal bribery charges against Councilmember Trayon White is set to meet.
An independent report that they commissioned found substantial evidence that White broke the rules.
And 7 News is on your side with team coverage this morning. Our Joy Wang is standing by at the alert desk with a look at how we got here. But we want to start with reporter John Gonzalez, who's live outside the Wilson building with a preview of that meeting today. John, good morning.
Megan, good morning. You know, since that report, that investigative report was released last Wednesday, Councilmember Trayon White has not spoken publicly, and next month he is set to be sworn in as he won re-election, won pretty convincingly. But the big question is this morning, will his colleagues vote to expel him or at least decide to take any sanctions? Now, that 9:30 meeting today is here at the Wilson building in Northwest D.C. We know that the committee is set to discuss the investigation, any appropriate sanctions, and whether to adopt the report. Council rules specify 3 types of sanctions: reprimand, censure, and, of course, expulsion. The report found, quote, substantial evidence that the Ward 8 council member broke rules for council and government employees. Now, keep in mind, no D.C. council member has ever been expelled, even though the council has seen its fair share of issues. Remember, back in 2012, Kwame Brown pleaded guilty to bank fraud and resigned as council chair just 4 years ago. Jack Evans resigned due to ethics violations. Now, Kenyon McDuffie, who chairs the committee, is not giving his opinion until things play out later this morning.
I'm not prepared to tell you what my recommendation is. I don't think it's appropriate for me to have that conversation right now, only because the process has not played out yet.
Now, expulsion requires 11 votes of the 13-member council, so almost a majority. We are told by Councilmember McDuffie that today's meeting is open to the public. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
And now let's break down the criminal case at the alert desk. Councilmember Trayon White faces one federal bribery charge. His trial is set to begin January of 2026, which is more than a year after the council takes action. White is accused of taking more than $30,000 in cash bribes and agreeing to receive more than 6 figures worth of kickbacks related to contract renewals for violence intervention initiatives.
All right, Joy, thank you. As 7 News has been staying on top of the bribery allegations White is facing since he was arrested over the summer. You can scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to our YouTube channel where you can watch a playlist of our continuing coverage on this case.
We are getting new details this morning on this case. A woman and child recovering in the hospital after a domestic-related stabbing that happened in Pentagon City. So police were called out late Saturday night near the Target store on Army-Navy Drive. Police arrested Leonardo Reyes. He is now facing several charges.
And right now, police in Fredericksburg need your help tracking down a man wanted on murder charges. Police say Elijah Musgrove shot and killed Tyler Jones in downtown Fredericksburg over the weekend. If you have a tip in this case, police do want to hear from you.
Covering the district now, city leaders hoping that Congress confirms more judges before adjourning for the holidays on Friday. The city's court system is short almost a dozen judges, which means more delays in the legal process. Now, we spoke with the family of a 14-year-old shot and killed at the Brookland Metro stop in April.
Having to deal with the loss of our son. We've just been at home, you know, trying to cope with everything and trying to keep everything together. Just a lot of hurt and pain, and then having to keep dealing with setbacks and setbacks and setbacks, and it's not being talked about. It's like it's just being swept under the rug.
The court's process for her son's case has been delayed due in part to how packed the judge's schedule has been. Currently, the D.C. court system is down 11 judges, which is about 15% of the bench. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has also been calling on the Senate to fill vacancies in the court. Last week, she answered questions from House Oversight Committee members and made this plea to Congress.
You've heard the chairman ask you to make sure that our United States Attorney's Office has not only the number of people that they need, but highly skilled attorneys that can work in an urban environment. And it is important. We cannot discount the need for swift trials and having the judges that we need help get us there.
Mayor Bowser reminding members of Congress that D.C. is not like the 50 states that have their own state court systems because the mayor can't appoint judges without statehood. That's been a long-standing demand by district leaders.
Okay, now to that developing story that has many of us looking up. 7 News has gotten multiple calls about drone sightings in the sky above the DMV, including reports that there were drones seen over Joint Base Andrews over the weekend. Fairfax County tells us there were commercial drones operating in the area around a police helicopter that was flying near Inova Mount Vernon Hospital. Now, police are investigating that incident to find out if the drone operators were licensed. The FAA released a new guide telling the public what to know about drones. It says more people are using drones, which means you'll see more of them in the sky. And drones must be registered with the FAA if they weigh more than a half pound. And the FAA investigates all reports of any unsafe operations. Now, here in the DMV, there are significant no-fly zones that operators are expected to follow. And for more on the FAA guide and rules for safe drone operation, you can go to our homepage, WJLA.com. And there have also been several drone sightings in Maryland, including near the home of former Governor Larry Hogan. We'll have more on those reports coming up for you at 5:30 from our Sinclair sister station in Baltimore.
Now, your traffic and weather together, always within 7 minutes.
5:09, still tracking some rain out there this morning, but we are going to see a lot of dry time today. Now, tomorrow, the warmest day of the week, we'll get a break from the rain before more rain moves in Wednesday with our next weather maker, and then some colder air will arrive late week. Now, most of us here in the D.C. metro area experiencing temperatures above freezing in the upper 30s to lower 40s, but these areas farther west, around Winchester, around Martinsburg, Cumberland as well, around freezing. So that's where you might notice a little bit of some icing. We'll look ahead to our next weather maker with a 7-day forecast here coming up, Britt.
Thank you. And right now, taking a look at more crashes as they come in. Prince George's County, this one's for you. Now, let's start with the inner loop. We got a crash there before 201. Yes, you can get around it. Just do so slowly. And then on the BW Parkway, southbound side, another crash there reported before Route 50. You could see the yellow on the map, so yeah, you might deal with a delay. Elsewhere, I-95 northbound. Show you volume here through Prince William County between 234 and 123 usually, but now add on a crash that's blocking a left lane at Virginia 123, and the backup is caught in our cameras. You can see the wetness to the cameras and also single-digit speeds near Prince William Parkway. That's your traffic watch.
The end of the year is almost here, and there are some ways to set yourself up for financial success in the new year. I'm back in less than 5 minutes with what experts are advising you do before January 1st.
It's 5:13, time for your Morning Minute. Today is the first weekday commute with automatic train operations on Metro's Red Line. Automated systems returned yesterday for the first time in 15 years, and Metro says expansion from the Red Line to other lines will happen once training and inspections are complete. Well, an early heads up about some Metro closures for you. Starting Friday, Farragut West, McPherson Square, and the lower level of Metro Center will be closed for track work. And this will last through December 30th. Then on December 27th, Federal Triangle, Smithsonian, and the lower level of L'Enfant Plaza will be shut down as well. All stations are set to reopen, though, on New Year's Eve. And a reminder that paving work wraps up this evening on the northbound GW Parkway exit ramp to I-495 north toward Maryland. And this was the scene during rush hour last week on the Beltway. The ramp will be closed tonight until 7 p.m. Well, a busy day ahead on Capitol Hill, where President-elect Trump's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services will meet with senators. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has already been vocal about his plans to improve health care treatment and redirect the pharma and big food industries.
Another live look from the Capitol this morning at 5:15 on your Monday morning. And let's get to the latest on the government shutdown and that looming December 20th deadline. Axios is reporting the spending stopgap bill being negotiated right now will fund the government until March 14th. This timeline means the next funding battle will happen toward the end of President-elect Trump's first 100 days in office. But what policies will be attached to this package? Well, we do have a web story up already. Just last week, a source told 7 News that the RFK Stadium bill that would pave the way for D.C. to build a new football stadium will likely be attached to this continuing resolution to keep the government funded and avoid a shutdown.
Yeah, waiting for the text of that bill to come out anytime. Thank you so much, Joy. Before the year runs out, there are some things you can do to improve your tax situation for 2024.
Can't escape it, and it's always a good idea to take time to do some last-minute strategizing before the tax year runs out. So 7 News' Melanie Hastings is here with some tips to help you save money on your taxes, Mel.
Always want to save you some money. So as you prepare to ring in the new year in a couple of weeks, experts agree that it's worth taking some time before the year runs out to reassess your financial situation. The money moves that you make in the next couple of weeks can have a big impact on achieving your financial goals in 2025. Financial expert Harry Drozdowski from Wells Fargo shares some smart money moves you should make before the end of the year so you don't leave money on the table.
If you're making contributions to a 529 education plan, do that this year. If you have a retirement account, a 401k or an IRA, and you have company matching in particular, maybe it's this month that you want to make sure you've maxed that out. If you're someone who is doing gifting to other people, I get that done by the end of the year. You know, you can give $18,000 away to each and every person you like without paying any gift tax on it.
If you have a flexible spending account, remember the use it or lose it rule. Make sure you spend those remaining healthcare dollars you already set aside before the end of the year. Some employers will give you a grace period into next year. And if you invest in the stock market, well, this is a good time to sell any losing investments. That'll free up some money, and hopefully you can reinvest them in some more profitable investments in the future.
Yeah, it's only a few weeks before we have to start building up all of our paperwork to get ready for tax season again. And
oh, yeah.
time
Did
of
you
year.
have to bring that up?
Not one of the most fun times
Our
of the year.
favorite time of the year, right?
Yeah, no, but you got to start thinking about it,
You
right?
do,
Because
yeah.
you start thinking about getting everything together as long as you got some time off. All right,
Sure.
thanks,
Thank
Mel.
you, generally, Mel. Thanks.
All right, take a look at this. This is what some of you saw in Loudoun County yesterday. If you look closely there, you can see some snowflakes. This video shared with us from our news director, Cheryl Carson. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. I know that you saw some stuff out there, especially to the north and to the west of the D.C. area. Just scan the QR code on the screen. That'll take you to our chime-in page on WJLA.com, and we would love to share your pictures and videos right here on the air during this segment of the show.
And were those flowers or berries on that? Some bright flowers there on that bush.
Color.
Interesting, yes.
Gorgeous.
Always like the contrast between color and snow, even though don't really like to see the snow that much. But
I know.
if it's conversational snow, if it's not sticking on the ground, then hey, whatever.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it. It was just kind of like cold and rainy where I was, but it was great weather to just kind of like hang inside, bake some cookies, you know, do laundry, all that kind of stuff.
The laundry.
Seems like that's going to continue into today too. It's just going to be meh. I think we can just sum it up like that.
I think that is the word of the day. So bring your own sunshine because Mother Nature isn't going to be bringing us any of that today. The good news is I guess the bulk of the wet weather is starting to move its way out of here. But, you know, I'm looking at some of Danielle and Britt's traffic cameras, and they're all looking really wet, looking at our cameras as well. So just be prepared for probably a slower than normal Monday morning commute. But again, the rain starting to taper off here. We saw about a ½ inch of rain at Reagan National, 5,500ths of an inch of rain. Same deal around BWI Airport as well as Dulles as well. So maybe another cup of coffee, kind of a morning this morning with the wet pavement that we're going to be dealing with. And again, temperatures above freezing, but still in the 30s. So just kind of cloudy and cold, maybe running some errands later today, doing some of that holiday shopping as we're just a little over a week away from Christmas. We've got cloudy skies this afternoon, temperatures in the upper 40s and maybe a little patchy fog. Now heads up later this evening, once the sun does set, I do think we'll be tracking another wave of some rain. So be prepared for that. Maybe for the drive home, not only will it be dark, but wet with our 24-hour rainfall potential showing more of those showers increasing by about 6 p.m. And then we're going to continue to see some rain through the overnight hours. But tomorrow, the warmest day of the week, guys, we're going to get into the lower 60s. So that'll be a nice little welcome treat for our Tuesday. And then another wet weather maker will move in on Wednesday. So be prepared for scattered showers throughout the day. We'll be dry, but a little cooler heading into your Thursday, Friday, and then downright cold, but at least it'll be dry as we head into the upcoming weekend. Look at that Sunday, Britt. We might not even get to 32 degrees.
Well, it'll be winter by then, so I understand. Right now, taking a look at the roads with some better news. Southbound I-95 speeds are going back up because after Dale Boulevard, we've cleared from that crash. So where things were in the single digits, stop and go traffic, now up to the teens and probably will get a little bit faster. But I urge you to slow down when you're dealing with slick road conditions like these. Elsewhere, inner loop moving slower because of that jackknife tractor trailer 355 Rockville Pike. 2 left lanes are blocked, so you can stay to your right and get around it. But your speeds will drop down about 16 miles per hour. That's your traffic watch. More 7 News this morning at 5 a.m. on the other side of the break. Stick with us.
You're watching 7 News on your side at 5 a.m.
Frustrations are growing after more drone sightings, this time spotted above former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan's house to the Inner Harbor to Mount Vernon. 7 News is on your side, working with our Sinclair sister station in Baltimore to try and get you some answers.
And today's the day the D.C. Council will decide what to do with Councilmember Trayon White. Expulsion requires 11 votes of the 13-member council.
And we start this half hour with a live look out toward D.C. from our station here in Roslyn. After a rainy night, showers are tapering off in the DMV. That's some good news for your morning drive.
But there are some concerns about overnight icing on the roads. That has led several Virginia school districts to open up things on a 2-hour delay this morning. These are the list of schools. You see them right there. Remember, you can always find the latest school delays. They're up right now at WJLA.com. Good meh Monday morning to you. I'm Adam Longo.
And I'm Megan Clark with Britt and Eileen here. And we will see a bit more of me I was about to say meh in the mornings. No, a bit more of me here in the mornings. I'll be filling in for Adriana. She's out on maternity leave.
We are so happy to have you in with us, and we'll be just going through the duration until Adriana comes back with you. So this will be our regular crew, our regular team. So we're really happy to have you.
Thank you guys so much. You are just a stellar team all to work with. So it's just like jumping into a well-oiled machine.
A growing trend of unexplained aerial activity across the East Coast. Now it's made its way to Maryland.
And the White House says that these drones do not appear to be foreign and that many of the sightings are actually manned aircrafts operating lawfully.
But this morning we're hearing from one Baltimore resident and an aviation expert who's questioning the government's transparency. Reporter Shannon Lilly with our sister station in Baltimore joins us now with the story.
Well, it's a phenomenon happening from New Jersey to Virginia and now right here in Baltimore. And people want answers for what they are seeing with their own eyes when they look up in the sky. In fact, we spoke with a woman by the name of Blue, and she took this video right here out of Baltimore's Mount Vernon neighborhood. It shows what appears to be a flashing light in the sky, at some points making quick moves and sudden stops. Take a listen to how she describes it.
At first, I thought it was the light on the tower, but then I looked around and realized it's way too far up and way too far out. And as I began to film, it started doing this dance. And as it moves, I move, making these very erratic movements. Can a drone do that? Sure. But whose is it? I'm not an aviation professional, but I'm pretty clued in. And I wouldn't know of any helicopter or any type of plane that could do that.
So we took those concerns to an aviation professional who spent over 2 decades as a Navy pilot responsible for test aircrafts. He says of the videos he's seen for himself, most of them do look like regular civilian aircrafts. But that being said, he is pointing to the possible threat of terror and is calling for more transparency from the White House.
I think the threat is real. And 20 some odd years after 9/11, we still haven't fully secured our airspace or know what's actually flying inside of it. It is very possible that there are other entities, domestic or foreign, that are using these drones to either test our security, they're taking photographs, they're trying to intercept these communications, because that is how our adversaries are going to beat us.
Even former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is raising the issue. In fact, he posted a video last week showing what appeared to be drones flying over his home in Davidsonville, and he is calling on the federal government to investigate. I'm Shannon Lilly in Baltimore, 7 News.
And it is not just Maryland that's had these reported drone sightings. This map right here actually shows drones reported in Stafford as well. In fact, just on Friday, we talked to you about what the Stafford County Sheriff's Department reported. They said that they were aware of suspicious drones flying over Stafford, King George, and Spotsylvania counties. And take a look at this video posted on X, and it actually is by a user who said she was filming the skies in Vienna and that she saw 20 drones all over the skies. We're seeing one of the flying aircrafts here kind of moving around the sky in her video. And this morning we're also hearing from Governor Glenn Youngkin, who said, quote, "I remain deeply concerned that Virginia has consistently sought information from federal partners, and to date the information shared with the Commonwealth has been insufficient."
Wreaths across America return to cemeteries all over the country this weekend, including in Arlington. Thousands of volunteers turned out to Arlington National Cemetery to place a holiday wreath at every headstone there. And there is also an opportunity for you to volunteer to help collect those wreaths after the holidays have passed. And for details on that, you can go to our homepage, WJLA.com.
Members of Maryland's Task Force 1 spent the weekend down south delivering toys to communities hit hard by Hurricane Helene. 2 trailers full of toys were dropped off in Marshall, North Carolina, and Irwin, Tennessee. The task force also dropped off a donated fire truck in Irwin to help out the local first responders there. And we want to thank everyone who donated to our Toys for Tots drive this year. We partnered with the U.S. Marines to help make sure thousands of kids had toys to open under the tree this Christmas.
Such an amazing effort. Well, 5:39 and next, details on how a car ended up in a fitness center swimming pool. The must-see video and how this happened, all new here on 7 News. And a win is a win. And Washington picked up a thrilling one over the weekend, narrowly escaping the Big Easy victorious. Our sports team has a look at how the Commanders' dominating start in New Orleans led to a heart-pounding finish.
It was a nail-biter for sure. And taking another live look outside this morning after a rainy night. Well, the showers are tapering off in the DMV, but you're going to see a lot of mist out there and a lot of road spray. We got another check of your traffic and weather together coming up in just 7 minutes.
Covering the Commanders now, who are fresh off a win against the New Orleans Saints. That brings them to 9-5 on the season.
This game was close, too close. The Commanders came out on top, though, 20-19.
Good morning, Washington. I'm Natalie Spalla. The Commanders playing a game of two halves on Sunday. The team dominated early, leading 14-0 over the New Orleans Saints at the half. But after making a change at quarterback to start the third, the Saints were able to hang around and eventually give themselves a chance to win the game on the final play. Let's go ahead and take a look. It's 20-13. Saints threatening with 3 seconds to go, and Spencer Rattler finds Foster Morrow just across the goal line. That touchdown puts New Orleans in position to either tie the game with the PAT or win it with the 2-point conversion, and they choose the latter. Rattler back to pass, looks like a similar play, but this time that pass falls incomplete. Washington holds on and survives 20-19 to win their 9th game of the season. Dan Quinn and company heading back to the district victorious.
Another wild game. And I think so for us, come down and get one on the road, that's a big deal. In a game of missed opportunities, penalties and missed plays, those can get frustrating. And lots to clean up onto those, and we will. But that's a little bit like December and January football where it does get hard. And so to go all the way down to the end, to the last play, you've heard me talk about the fight of the group, and that's one of the things I really admire about our team.
Now, this is certainly a win to celebrate, but the Commanders know they have several things that need to get buttoned up because in less than a week, the Eagles will fly into Northwest Stadium. For 7 News Sports, I'm Natalie Spalla.
All right, Natalie, thank you. And Virginia's high school football season came to a close over the weekend. 3 teams from the region are bringing titles back to their respective schools. James Madison faced Oscar Smith in the Class 6 ranks, and it was close, but Oscar Smith took home the win 21-20. Briarwoods played Maury in Class 5. Maury repeats as champs, winning 46-zip. And Kettle Run goes head-to-head with Liberty Christian in Class 3. Kettle Run season comes to an end 1 game short, while Liberty Christian celebrates a 2nd state title. Final score 42-6.
Well, 7 News following new details in a double stabbing that happened in Pentagon City. We're going to tell you about what we know so far. That's on the way. And this morning, trains on Metro's Red Line are running on autopilot. We'll have an update on how day 1 of the return to automation went.
And we've got another live look for you outside this morning. Overnight rain is moving out of our area slowly, leaving some slick roads behind. We can see more for your drive home from work and school, too. We've got another check on your traffic and weather with Eileen and Britt together after the break.